Good evening and welcome to Live with Swag Her. Tonight I have two very special guests. I have Misty Rain and Christian Nicole. I would like for you both to take the opportunity to introduce yourselves individually, please. Rain, Misty, you can go first.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Misty Rain. I am the spiritual attorney and the host of the brand new podcast, Spades and Spirits Podcast, which will be launching on June 1st. So, greetings. Thank you for coming to our live.
Yes, and thank you so much for having us. I am Christian Nicole, the intuitive development coach, and I am the co-host of Spades and Spirits podcast that is airing June 1st. We are so excited to talk to you guys about it.
I'm so excited to have you guys both here. First off, congratulations on the launch of Spades and Spirits Podcast.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Absolutely. What made both of you say now is the time for this conversation?
Well, go ahead, Christian, because I know you had been thinking about a podcast for a while, yeah?
I have been presented with the idea of a podcast for far too long. So everybody's like, when I sit down and talk to people at a bus stop, in the grocery store, at the car wash, wherever I am, I get into these very deep and intimate and spiritual conversations. And people say, you should have a podcast. We should have recorded that. And I've always said, if you do all the admin stuff behind the scenes, I will be front and center, front row to sit there and speak. And so Misty called me with this opportunity. She said, I have this podcast. I'd love for you to co-host. I gave God my yes. So when she called, it was automatic. It was just an alignment. So I was excited to say yes.
I love it.
Yes. So I got the idea because I was watching a wealthy man in an interview. I honestly don't remember what show it was on or what video I came across, but it was a really, billionaire basically saying how him and his friends got together and played poker once every week. And they've come up with these $1 million ideas while they're playing poker. And so I thought to myself, I said, what game do Black people play? And spades came to mind.
Mhm.
And then I said, how can we come up with topics that enrich people's, not just their pockets, but their soul and their spirit? And so from there, honestly, it was just a download from spirit. Everything from there was spirit led. I mentioned the show to my friend like the next day after I had the download. And, at first he looked at me kind of like, okay. And then the next day he called me and said, I have a perfect place for you to do it. It's a studio. It's 8 minutes away from you. They got all the equipment. And honestly, the way that everything came together from there was just divine. Christian
Yeah.
Nicole was the very first person I thought of when I thought about a co-host because she's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
my spiritual mentors. And so, yeah, it was just really a divine orchestration at the right time.
Okay. Okay. Now, what does the combination of spades and spirits, the combination represents culturally and spiritually? Now we know you touched on the spades being something that we play. That's
Yes.
the cookout game, but
Yeah.
spiritually,
Yeah. Well, I have a good friend, shout outs to my sister Karma, and she says, cards are spiritual in and of themselves.
mhm,
They evoke emotion. Anybody who's played a spades game knows how emotional and, into it we can get charged up about it. Tarot cards, oracle cards in and of themselves are really like a spiritual thing, right? So when we combine the cultural phenomenon of spades with the discussion about spirituality, it honestly opens the door for very authentic conversation because
mhm,
we're playing spades and we're not really, our filters aren't there. We're not really guarded, in
mhm.
our conversation. So it allows us just to relax, have a good time, and interact authentically with each other on some deep topics that are worthy of discussion. Yeah. Now, I will say really quick, and
Mhm,
Christian, you can back me up on this. Our guests that have been on our podcast,
mhm.
I'm gonna tell it, y'all. For the guests that have come on, a lot of them have had like anxiety about spades. They're like, "Are we really playing spades? I don't really know how to play." Oh my god, like they're kind of touchy about spades. And I was surprised by that. I thought every Black person was slamming cards down and, knew how to play spades. But, I think it's really interesting to see how people hold the concept of spades in their mind.
Now, when you said your guests, how do you select your guests? And let me just put it, I don't know how to play spades.
Thank you.
Okay. Listen, we welcome all levels of spades players. Okay. I'm representing for the mediocre spades players of America. I'm from Connecticut. It wasn't really a thing like that.
Right.
And my sister is from Detroit.
Listen, I'm from Detroit. They slam cards and flip tables. I stay away from the spades table. So every time I do sit down to play, they have to explain it to me like it's the very first time. And I usually have beginner's luck every single time, but I do not make that a habit. It's dangerous. So when she said, let's play spades, do you know how to play spades? I said, I don't know how to play spades.
Right.
And what I'm learning is a lot of our guests don't know how to play spades, but the ones that do, they are I'm gonna cut you and flip the table type. So you got two different kinds. Either you know how to play and you love it, or you don't. So we got a good mix. We got a good mix of people that can and do, and ones that don't. And we get so enthralled in the conversation that we forget whose turn it is, whose book it is, and so it just gives us something to do with our hands.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, how do you pick your guests? How do you pick your guests?
So to be honest with you, we're looking for people that are truly passionate about what they do and what they're speaking about. We're looking for people that have deeper insights. To be honest with you, on Instagram, I'm watching videos from different spiritual teachers and practitioners. And if they say some things that really, really catch my ear or that resonate, that is true with me, I'm like, oh, I'd love to talk to you more about that on my podcast, Right. And because of the setup of our podcast, we really only had people that are local to Atlanta and physically present in Atlanta to sit down and play spades with us and discuss. Yeah. However, and I was mentioning to you, we are going to be starting a Patreon page where we will have some exclusive interviews with guests that are all over the world, that are truly doing the work. So we're looking for authenticity of energy. We're looking for passion, and we're looking for people that have deeper insights that can really break it down to help enlighten our audience.
Okay. So with going into the audience, now we know it's so many podcasts that exist right now. What do you feel like your podcast, what gap do you feel like it's going to fill?
Mm-hmm. You want to touch on it, sis?
You see me smiling. So this, I feel, I haven't seen a ton of spiritual podcasts. So I've seen a lot of religious, I've seen a lot of prophetic, and nothing that kind of opens the broad spectrum of all things under the umbrella of spirituality, health and wellness and relationships and finances and everything that is all connected. And so this podcast, we pull from every lane because we believe that spirituality is everything, that everything is connected and there is no way to compartmentalize our life. And so where we think we're having a problem in one area of our life, say it's relationships or say it's finances, I guarantee through understanding spirituality, how everything is connected, you will see that one affects the other. And so I think we kind of cover everything. We're open to everything, whether we agree with it or not, whether we've tried it before, whether we've experienced it or experimented with it or not. We're open for the discussion, not just for ourselves, but for our audience, because there's tons of seekers that are looking for the answers. And a lot of times they can't go to their families to talk about this kind of stuff. They can't go to their friend circle. So we've created a circle where they can come and not be judged for the questions that they have in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And if I may just piggyback on that, because me and Christian Nicole have talked about this quite a bit. There are at least 5 million podcasts out there. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure that one of the differentiators was that we are going all the way in on spiritual topics. So this is not just fluff, and I have been kind of scouring some spiritual podcasts and just to kind of see what's out there. And there's some good stuff, but a lot of it is just kind of very pop culture-ish, kind of, surface, cute, but I wanted to make sure that we're really getting down to the inner workings of spirituality so that, our audience is not just listening and saying, oh, that's nice to hear, but they're really understanding how to integrate this into their life, how to elevate their mindset, how to really transform from the inside out. And so for us as deep diving Scorpios, it's very important for us to pick topics that are important and that people are seeking the answers to, and to really get deep and drill down on some of that insight.
Okay, now piggybacking off what you said, a lot of people we know are spiritually curious, but also spiritually confused.
Yeah.
How do you help people discern between genuine healing and performative spirituality online?
Oh, that's a good question right there. I
told y'all ahead,
meditate on that one, because that's a deep question. Wow.
Right.
Wait a minute.
I love these kind of questions because we are two practitioners that actually have lived these experiences, right? And have learned by way of our experience. We have learned that there are actual. Here's the thing about metaphysics and mystics, which is kind of the realm that I live in. And one of the things that we say as a mystic is, for all you know nothing if it does not benefit you a better life. Mm-hmm. So with all of things that are out there, if it's not benefiting us a better life, it's not changing anything for us, then what's the point? And I believe that goes for religion as well. If it's not benefiting you a better life, it's not serving you. And all of this is to serve the being. Yeah. And so I really want to bring awareness to people that there are practical ways, tools, exercises that we can do that have a lot to do with understanding the mechanics of our minds and our bodies. And it's not this woo-woo, untangible thing. It's something that you can actually materialize and utilize in your life. And these things work. These things actually work. So on this platform, it's enabling me to give me an opportunity, and Misty as well, to show people how these things actually work, why they work, and the spiritual element to them. But there's a mechanics that have to do with the mind and the body and the spirit. And when you understand it, you can work it and not have it be working against you. So that's really the agenda, is for healing, practical and real transformations. Yeah,
definitely.
You want to add anything, Misty?
I was just going to say, truth has a ring to it. And you know it when you feel it. It has a resonance. So one of the most important things that we do with the people that we work with is getting them to get still and grounded, so that, because there's so much coming at people. There's so much information. There's so many opportunities to be confused as you're going along the spiritual journey. And so really getting clear on what is coming from spirit versus what is coming from ego or what is coming from the outside is of the utmost importance. And so, as practitioners, Christian, Nicole, and I we work with our clients on getting still, being still, because what does the Bible say? Be still and then know, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are out here trying to get the information without the wisdom, without the groundedness, right? And so, for the people that are listening to our podcast, we are going to be giving out a lot of insightful and enlightening information. And if you're down to do the work, if you're down to take it a little bit deeper, if you're looking for a community to unpack a lot of this stuff, because we only have about 60 minutes on a podcast episode, right? But if you're looking to really get clear on some things, we are also creating the Spades and Spirits Inner Circle community, where we will work with you. We will all work together to really get clear on, just to clear up the confusion.
Now, I'm going to bounce. I don't want to go too deep, but I am going to go back there.
Go deep.
This is going to be just a mellow question. Um, what do you have planned for the launch of the podcast for June 1st?
Yes. So before June 1st, we're actually having a podcast party launch.
Okay.
Right. So May 31st, if anybody is in Atlanta and you want to pull up on us in Lithonia, come pull up on us. It's free. It's just going to be a good time. We'll be showing clips from the podcast episodes. We'll have some chocolate wine from one of our sponsors. We're going to toast it up. We'll play a couple games. It's going to be a good time. So that is really going to be the kickoff, the celebratory mountaintop moment of we finished the first season. And then on June 1st, we'll be starting the first season off with an episode about human design, which is like all the rage these days, and everybody wants to know what it's all about, right? Yeah. And so the podcast, you'll be able to listen to it on all platforms where you can hear podcasts, and you'll be able to watch the full episode on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Spades and Spirits Podcast on everything for anybody looking for it. And then from there, episodes will drop every Monday. Okay. And I do want to mention that in between time, we're not going to leave you hanging, for a full 7 days. We have a lot of content coming out on our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook pages. And so, just follow us and hang out and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a lot coming at you, and it's all juicy, good stuff.
And learn something. Yeah, learn something.
Yeah. Now, you both speak openly about consciousness, emotional intelligence, healing, intuition. What was the personal turning point that pushed you both into this work?
Well, for me, it was deep grief and severe pain. So I experienced a sudden traumatic loss, and that shifted my reality. And because of the amount of pain, I went searching for answers to explain what happened. And it led me on this journey of spiritual exploration, where I was diving into intuition, right? Because the events leading up to the loss, I was getting these intuitive nudges as to where to go and how to, what to do. And because I had so much fear and I had so much codependency, and I was so worried about what would people think and what would people say if I acted on these impulses or these nudges that I'm getting that I can't explain, and I cannot logic these things. So in fear of the judgment, in fear of how it was going to look or what was going to happen or what could have happened, I didn't act on those things. And then it led up to a loss. And so I wanted to know, what was that voice that was warning me, that was guiding me, that was trying to give me some insight, and why didn't I listen? And in discovering the answers to both of those questions, I've learned how to develop my intuition, what that voice sounds like, how critically important it is, where it comes from, what it feels like in my body. And then I studied why didn't I listen, which came from my programming inadvertently right through childhood, because of the mechanics of the mind and how thoughts and beliefs are formed in the mind. So when I started to study the mechanics of why I do what I do and how I am the way that I am, I learned that it was a program given to me and that I didn't choose. So I was able to then break it and create my own program, or just be the thing that I was born to be without all the stuff. Yeah. And so I thought, I have to share this with other people because it can't just be me.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. That's great.
What about you, Misty?
Yeah, I would say extreme stress, to be honest with you. Let me back it up. I've always been a deeply spiritual person. Mm-hmm. I can remember at 7 years old wanting to go up to the altar to get saved because I just felt like this pull towards divinity my whole life. But I would say that I had strived my whole life to fulfill the the American dream, right? So I went to college, got that degree, went to law school, got that degree. And here I was at 25 years old, just got a major offer from one of the largest international law firms in the world. And I remember the first day sitting in that big old office thinking to myself, this cannot be all that there is. Like, I could not have possibly worked this hard to be in this space where I don't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are all these demands and all this pressure cooker energy on me all the time, working 80 hours a week. And so that really thrust me deeper into my spiritual practice. How do I maintain my authenticity and still show up and smile and play their game? How do I stay grounded in the middle of all of this, all of these outside projections onto me, right? And I would say that that was the impetus behind doing the external work, I would say, like the spiritual work and the tools and the principles and the practices. Later on and more recently, I went through a painful separation, with my ex. And that really got me to do the internal work, right? I looked at that situation and said, what is it about me that helped to create this in my life? And, that's a powerful place when you can get to a place of grief or heartbreak or pain and look at yourself and say, how did I allow this? How did I create this? How do I shift this in my life, right? Yeah. And so that really got me to do the deeper inner self work and self-awareness, inner child healing and all of that shadow work. So yeah, just life experiences, I think, that serve as resistance help to define us. Yeah.
Okay, so we hear terms like divine feminine, alignment, healing, and manifestation constantly online. In your opinion, where have people watered these concepts down?
Oh, you got some good questions.
I love it. I love it here.
I need a moment.
I love it here.
Take the moment. We got the moment. We are not in a rush.
So, I heard divine feminine, manifestation. What was the other one?
Alignment, healing, and we hear it all the time. But where, in your opinion, where have people watered these concepts down?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They've watered them down in this the idea that it has an aesthetic, that it has a look. And what I'm seeing is a lot of costumes being put on. If I look like this, then I must be in alignment. If I look like that, then I must be manifesting. When all of those things and divine femininity, we really have to open up we really have to open up that vein of conversation with what divine femininity actually is. And it does not have a specific aesthetic because we all look different. Yeah. And so what I'm seeing a lot of is that there's a lot of doing, and they're focusing a lot on the doing of what divine femininity looks like in doing, and manifestation looks like in doing, and alignment looks like in doing, when all of those things is about being. Yeah. And the only way to get into being is to be still and connect with the thing that doesn't move. And once we align with that, then the rest is automatic. There's a flow that just naturally happens. And we don't have to do so much conversation about divine femininity and what that looks like, because it's an embodiment. It just comes out. It just shines in your aura, in your energy, in your speech, in the way you walk. I remember when I shifted from my masculine energy, because I grew up in a Detroit city on the east side. If anybody knows, then you know. And, it was a survival every single day. And I grew up in a rap group. Me and my brothers had a rap group, and we were like the Fugees. So it was like I was the singer, rapper, songwriter, and they made the beats and did the rapping, and we were cold. Like we was like that. And so, but I had to, and I grew up with a lot of boys. So my aunt had 5 boys, then my uncle had 4 boys. Like I was outnumbered. So I had to, you can't beat them, join them. So I developed this masculine energy to keep up with the boys. So I just kind of grew up with that. And so I remember breaking that. Remember the shift. When I went through my spiritual awakening, developing just new awareness. Yeah. I remember when I shifted from my masculine into my feminine, I automatically started speaking slower. I didn't have to be so aggressive. I automatically started walking slower. And my brother used to talk about me too. Like, you see them people trying to cross, driving, why you walking slow? I said, because I'm allowed to take my time. They will wait. They will wait or they gonna hit me. Either one. I'm walking at the pace that I'm guided in my spirit to walk. I'm not trying to be seen. This is just the pace that I'm in. And so I've witnessed myself living that way. Waking up earlier, having slow mornings. These are the things that make me feel rich. Being a lot slower and intentional with caring for my body. Honey, I be in here lathering and slathering myself in body butters and oils and just the smells of it all, and then adorning myself, because this is goddess energy. Yeah. And when I started to move slower like that, I witnessed the shift. This is what it looks like. It wasn't something I was cultivating or trying to do or trying to be. It just naturally happened. And as well as the connections and things that I've been able to make, they kind of just come to me. I'm more receptive now. I don't go get it, go get it, go get it. I allow things to just come to me like the mother. I just receive. And when I receive, then I multiply, and then I return it. And that's divine feminine energy. But it came from being still first. It came to connecting with the divine being within first. And so that's where the confusion is. The confusion is in the doing when everything is really in the being.
I love it. Misty, go on and add some more deliciousness to this.
I know. She added all the deliciousness. So I want to say, because your question was, where have they watered it down? Yeah. But I feel like for me, the perspective is that they overcomplicate it. Mm-hmm. Right. So I feel like all of those concepts are overcomplicated when they're really very simple. As humans, we love to overcomplicate things. Mm-hmm. We could take the simplest thing and make it, a whole thesis, a whole dissertation. It's really not that complicated. Manifestation is about certain principles that you have to embody and adhere to in order to manifest, in order for those things to become a tangible reality. There are certain feminine principles and masculine principles, and it has nothing to do with the genitalia between your legs. These are principles of energy. You can embody them or not, right? And so, I feel like a lot of the conversation, even what they call the so-called gender wars, like the man versus the women and how we go back and forth online and all of that, again, an overcomplication of very basic principles and roles and concepts. And so I feel like the watering down is more so in a terrible overcomplication that confuses people and keeps them out of alignment with those simple truths. And so again, on the Spades and Spirits podcast, we have an episode called The Rise of the Divine Feminine. We have an episode on womb wellness, talking about how the divine goddess within you can create from an open and balanced womb space. Being the multidimensional woman is another episode that we have on the podcast, where we talk about how to embody all that we are as divine feminine energy and show up in the world in all of the roles that we want to play. Yeah. And so, we, instead of overcomplicating, we do explore and discuss, but we get down to the principles of the matter. And that's really the foundation for shifting your life.
Now, I have one more question that I'm hoping that's going to get the same reaction, and then we're going to go into a little softer as we close out, okay?
Oh, man.
Let's talk about the rise in people reclaiming African spirituality and ancestral practices. Why do you think that movement, I feel like it's who we are, is growing so rapidly right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have an episode about African spirituality with a phenomenal guest, Baba Shola. Anybody in Atlanta should be familiar with him. And he comes on and breaks down the whole thing about why we've been so misled about African spirituality and just outright lied to about it, over the centuries. And also why there's such a resurgence of, that knowledge and those practices these days. We also have another episode with Queen Po, called The Age of Aquarius, and she talks about how religion, organized religion, is a structure that is really losing a lot of its steam right now. It's kind of crumbling in some ways. And so as people evolve out of the dogma of organized religion, they are looking for, again, truth. They're looking for something they can feel. And African spirituality has a vibration to it. It has a rhythm to it. Again, you know the truth when you feel it. And there are certain, principles and concepts in African spirituality that just ring true. I don't care, where you're from, African or not. The truth is truth, and it's universal, right? And so as we begin to go back, there's a concept in African spirituality called Sankofa, which means to go back and reach back to your lineage and your ancestry and get the truth and get the stories, right? And so as we Sankofa and begin to go back into who we are as a people, then we start making those connections and we start feeling that resonance when we reconnect with our ancestors, when we reconnect with our heritage and all the things that we stood for way before certain things in human history came about.
Christian, you got anything you want to add?
No, not to that. I don't. We covered it. Yeah.
Now, the reason I smile so hard with Sankofa, I've only heard that word in the community I'm with, and twice. And it was once from Dr. I don't want to say her name wrong, Hammond. And then my spiritual father, Dr. Larry D. Reed. I've never heard that word before. So when I hear people say that word now, like going across social media and everything, it just makes my heart smile.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know, but when you know it,
Yeah.
you know it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to some fun stuff. Okay, now all has been real delicious. So let's get to the spades.
All right.
Spades, or do y'all play as partners?
So we usually team up with the guests.
Okay.
Right.
So we'll have two guests at a time, and I'll team with one, and then Misty will team with the other.
Right. And so it's a mixed bag in terms of the guests. Like I said, we have some guests that are like nervous and like, I don't know how to play. Y'all really want me to play? And then we have some guests that are like, bring it on, and they're ready to go to war. So it really just depends. To be honest, and in full transparency, I'm gonna give y'all a little secret. We're so focused on the conversation. We're in there reneging. We're in there throwing down whatever. It doesn't matter. We're really the cards are more so, like my sister said, something to do with our hands. But the conversation is often the star of the show. And also, just a side note, some episodes focus on the spades, and then we have some other episodes that focus on the spirits. So we might just have one guest and we're drinking our spirits. We have some chocolate wine, we have spirits in our cup, and we're focusing on that aspect as well.
I love it. I can't wait to tune in. I'm not going to
lie.
I cannot wait. What is one goal you have for Spades and Spirits Podcast?
So on the first episode, that's going to be actually dropping May 31st. So just an introduction to the podcast will be dropping May 31st. We talk about our intentions for the podcast. And it is my sincere and heartfelt intention that this podcast will help to free somebody from any bondage in their minds, help them to come up out of the box, to come up out of anything that's been keeping them from the truth of who they are. It is my sincere intention that we will just shine our light. Really, it was designed to be a light in the dark places, because unfortunately, there are so many dark places out there these days. And so my intention was for it to be a beacon of light to those seekers of the truth.
I love that. Christian, you have anything?
Yes. So my intention as well is pretty simply is to bring awareness to the many ways that people can find their way back to God within.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Amen. Ashe. And
No,
I just
Okay.
Just to say one more thing about that, my other main intention for this show is to build a community, right, of light workers and light seekers and healers. Yeah. And we were talking on our Car Chronicles. Me and Christian have a series called Car Chronicles where we just kind of raw, unfiltered. And I was saying how I believe it's time for the light workers to care, bear, scare the world right now. And so the other intention is to help build that community where light workers unite. You know, everybody that is seeking the truth can come, and whatever resonates with them, pick it up. And if it doesn't resonate, you can leave it behind, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Most people. Now, before you tell them, no, I'm going to do this first. Can you please let everyone know how they can personally follow you, as well as everything they need to know to be able to tune in to the podcast June 1st, because I don't want to miss the date.
Yes, I love it. So the podcast is Spades and Spirits Podcast across all social media. So that would be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spades and Spirits Podcast. You can watch the full episodes on YouTube, and you can listen to the podcast everywhere where you can hear podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Pods, iHeartRadio, all the things. You'll be able to listen on June 1st. Now, I did just drop a little bit of a gem. We're going to be dropping an introductory episode on May 31st. So you might want to go ahead and follow now, like the page now, so you can get the drop on everybody else on May 31st. You can follow me personally at The Spiritual Attorney on everything. The Spiritual Attorney across all social media. I'm going to be rolling out a lot of content on that channel and that page as well. So yeah, welcome. Come on in. The water's fine. And I look forward to making you part of the community.
I love it. Christian?
Yes, you can. Again, everything is on Spades and Spirits Podcast. And you can also follow me directly at I am Christian Nicole. Christian Nicole is all one word with one N. So it's all connected. And that is on all platforms as well.
Okay, now we're gonna leave with this question, okay?
Sure.
Okay. What do you say to someone or anyone that is listening tonight who feels spiritually awakened but emotionally overwhelmed at the same time?
Oof. I'm gonna get you to write some questions for the podcast because you have some really good questions.
I got you. I promise. And that's my word.
Yeah, I love it. I need some help writing these questions. So come on in. Oh man, that's so many people right now. It is. So many people are being spiritually awakened and feeling overwhelmed. I always say, you know, in my work with my clients, my job is to not only get you to stay woke, but to help you get out of bed and to show up in the world as your true, highest, enlightened, most elevated and actualized self. So what I would say to anybody in that position right now is you cannot do it alone. You just can't. Because you, number one, cannot see yourself without a reflection. You know, we think we know ourselves. We think we know it all, but you cannot see yourself. And number two, the task is too big for one person to come into a particular spiritual understanding and awareness. It's too big for one person. So what I would say is Spades and Spirits Podcast is a great place to start. If you're looking for insight and information and looking just to open your mind a little bit more. And then I would say when you're ready to take it deeper, we have a community here for you where we will walk with you. Your community will walk with you. So I would just recommend, number one, breathing. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a couple deep breaths. Just don't forget to breathe. Everything is easier when you're breathing. Number two, carve out time to be still. Stillness is a healing recipe. You know, there's so much happening in the world today. It'll make your head spin. So, you know, one of the antidotes for that is to find time to be still. And then I would say, make sure that you're going to trusted sources for good information and insight. Again, the podcast is a great place. And then when you're ready, We have a Patreon page for additional information, additional episodes, but more so, I want you to come into the community where we can hug you and hold you and make you feel seen and heard and work with you through some of the feelings that come up as you're spiritually awakening.
I love that. Christian, you got anything you want to add?
I do. What I would say is, I would say, first, take a deep breath in through the nose, filling your belly with air, and take a deep, slow exhale through the nostrils and let it go. Whatever it is, let it go, because you are in command, but you are not in control. So you have dominion over all the works of the Father's dominion over all the works of the Father's hands, but you don't get to control everything. So by command, you get to name and claim your desires, but you do not get to control. And I feel the overwhelm comes from this need to control, and this need to control in one's own timing, under one's own understanding. And when we lean not on our own understanding, but release it and give it up to the source that is greater, then it creates space for, again, this allowing to happen. And I notice that that's where the overwhelm happens, because it's not us that is doing anything. It is the great works of the Father that is doing these works. And so I would offer that we remember just to let it go. You are in command, but you're not in control. So after you put it out there, go wash the car, or clip your toenails, or just put your feet up and watch some TV. Go do something else. Just let it go. And when you're not, or come and watch an episode of the Spades and Spirits podcast, so we can put some things into perspective for you, so that it simplifies what we might be overcomplicating.
I love it. Every opportunity is a plug. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is more than a podcast. It's a cultural conversation happening in real time around healing, identity, spirituality, emotional intelligence, and what it means to truly know yourself outside of conditioning. And I want to thank you both for blessing this whole segment. It has been absolutely delicious. I am completely honored that I was the one that was able to interview you guys, because I can relate. And I love when the people that I am talking to can make sense to me, and it's not just the interview. I absolutely love this time with you guys. I will be tuning in. Make sure everyone that is watching this, whether you're watching it now or you're watching later, go get on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's also going to be on Patreon. And it is Spades and Spirits Podcast. You do not want to miss it. I feel like you're going to get everything that you're looking for. I feel like you will find it. So make sure you guys tap in. Thank you guys again for blessing Swag Her Magazine. And I will be seeing you guys on Monday. Well, on the 31st, because I want to see the sneak peek first. I like it first.
Lachey, thank you so much for having us. Thank you for the amazing questions. Like, girl, call me. I like after the show, like after this is over, call me so we can talk. I love the questions. Thank you, Swag Her Magazine, for having us here. And we definitely look forward to being a part of the family with you guys too.
Thank you.
Yes. Lachey, we are blessed by you. You're a phenomenal question asker, interviewer, your energy, your smile, your presence. Thank you so much for your time in interviewing us. I love Swag Her. Swag Her is home. It's, family. So I am grateful. Y'all follow Swag Her. How about that? Y'all make sure you tap in, because they're keeping you up to date on all the latest and greatest things happening. So definitely tap in with Swag Her. Thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good evening, and I'll send you guys my phone number.
You too. Yes, please. Have a beautiful night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.